Congratulations, pioneers. Today, we didn't just win an argument. We won the payment processing war. For 6 years, critics repeated the same tired lines. You can't buy anything with Pi. You can't use it for real payments. It has no value in the real world. They believed utility meant buying a cheap coffee at a small shop. They never understood the scale of what Pi was actually built for. They were thinking way too small. While everyone was focused on small purchases, something much bigger was being built. A foundation for what could be the largest commerce integration in history. We're not talking about utility in the traditional sense today. We're talking about something that could completely change the game. Information is surfacing that suggests something many thought was impossible might actually be on the horizon. A partnership that would end every debate about Pi's value. The moment Pi Network could become a major currency of internet commerce. We're talking about Amazon, and before you dismiss this as just another rumor, you need to understand the business reality of what's happening behind the scenes. Because when you follow the money and the strategic needs, this starts to make a lot more sense than you might think. But first, you need to understand why a company like Amazon would even consider this, and the answer isn't what most people expect. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Alois, and today we're going to break down something that could be massive for the future of Pi Network. Let's start with the facts that most people overlook about Amazon's business model. Why would Amazon, a company worth over $1 trillion, care about Pi Network? What could we possibly offer them? The answer is actually pretty simple when you look at their costs. Amazon is losing money on every transaction, and Pi represents a potential solution. Before we move any further, I want to give a huge welcome to Pi pioneers from every corner of the globe. Whether you're tuning in from the bustling streets of New York, the colorful markets of India, the growing cities of Nigeria, the innovative hubs of the Philippines, or anywhere else in our incredible Pi family, this moment belongs to all of us. Right now, let's show the true power of our worldwide Pi network. Drop a comment saying, "Pi Network to the moon," and your country name. Let's paint this comment section with every nation on Earth. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a massive update. Now let's dive into something absolutely huge. Every single time you buy something on Amazon using a credit card, Visa and MasterCard take a cut. Between 2 and 3% of every purchase. That might sound small to you and me, but for Amazon, we're talking about billions of dollars every single year going straight to payment processors. Jeff Bezos didn't build Amazon by accepting unnecessary costs. The company is constantly looking for ways to optimize and reduce expenses. Now here's where it gets interesting. Amazon has actually been trying to solve this problem for years. They've launched their own credit cards, trying to keep more of the money in-house. They've pushed bank account linking to bypass credit cards. They've tried multiple approaches, but nothing has worked on a truly global scale. Credit cards are still expensive, bank transfers are slow and complicated internationally. The payment infrastructure problem hasn't been solved. Until potentially now. Pi Network offers instant global transactions with extremely low fees. We're not talking about 2 or 3%. We're talking about fractions of a cent per transaction. Think about what that means for Amazon's bottom line. If they could eliminate billions in payment processing fees while simultaneously speeding up transactions and expanding to markets where traditional payment methods don't work well, that's a massive competitive advantage. We're not begging Amazon to accept Pi. We built exactly what solves their biggest ongoing expense problem. But the fee reduction isn't even the most compelling reason Amazon might look at Pi. There's something else, something most people haven't considered that makes Pi uniquely valuable to e-commerce platforms. And this is where the verification system becomes crucial. Let me show you what I mean. Here's something most people don't think about when they talk about crypto payments. The fee reduction is great, but there's an even bigger problem that Amazon faces every single day: fraud. Amazon loses an enormous amount of money to fraudulent transactions, stolen credit cards, fake accounts, people who make purchases and then dispute the charges, organized fraud rings creating hundreds of fake accounts. This isn't a small problem. We're talking about billions of dollars in losses and countless hours dealing with fraud detection, investigations, and customer service issues. Now here's where Pi's approach over the past 6 years starts to make perfect sense from a business perspective. While other cryptocurrency projects focused on speed and getting listed on exchanges as fast as possible, Pi took a different approach. The KYC verification process, the identity verification that many people complained was too slow. That slow strategy created something incredibly valuable for e-commerce. 50 million verified human beings. Not bot accounts, not people with 20 different wallets, real people who went through government-level identity verification. Think about what that means for Amazon. If a customer pays with Pi, Amazon knows instantly that they're dealing with a verified real person, someone who passed identity checks, someone with accountability. No more chargebacks from stolen credit cards, no more fraud rings with hundreds of fake accounts, no more payment disputes from people who claim they didn't authorize a purchase. The verification database that Pi built isn't just useful for payments. It's a fraud prevention system that no other cryptocurrency can offer at this scale. Credit cards don't verify identity up front. Traditional crypto doesn't require real identity verification. Only Pi has this. We accidentally built the perfect e-commerce payment solution while everyone thought we were just being slow and overly cautious. But here's where this gets even more interesting. If Amazon were to integrate Pi, the implications go far beyond just Amazon's business. The ripple effects would change everything about how we think about Pi's value. And that's what we need to talk about next, because the math behind this is something most people haven't fully considered. Now we need to talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough. What actually happens to a cryptocurrency when it gets integrated into real-world commerce at massive scale? Let me walk you through the math, because this is where things get really interesting. Amazon does trillions of dollars in sales every single year. Not billions, trillions. The amount of money flowing through Amazon's platform daily is almost hard to comprehend. Now imagine for a moment that Amazon integrates Pi as a payment option. Even if only a small percentage of customers use it at first, we're still talking about enormous transaction volume. Let's say 10% of Amazon's business eventually flows through Pi. That's still hundreds of billions of dollars worth of economic activity. Here's the key question. How do you push hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars in economic value through a cryptocurrency network? You need the price per coin to be high enough to facilitate that volume of commerce. Think about it this way. If Pi is priced at $1 per coin and someone wants to buy a $1,000 laptop on Amazon, they need 1,000 Pi coins for that single purchase. Now multiply that across millions of transactions per day. The demand for Pi would be absolutely insane. Constant, sustained, real-world demand, not speculation, not trading. Actual people needing Pi to make purchases.
On the other side, you have supply. And Pi's supply is limited. Mining is ending. The total number of Pi coins that will ever exist is capped. This is basic economics. When you have massive sustained demand hitting limited supply, the price has to adjust upward. It's not optional. It's mathematical necessity. If Pi remained at a low price while trying to facilitate Amazon-level commerce, the network couldn't function. There wouldn't be enough Pi in circulation to handle the transaction volume. The price per coin has to rise to match the economic activity flowing through the network. Now, people talk about something called the global consensus value. The number that gets mentioned is $314,159 per pi. Most people hear that number and think it's crazy, impossible, too high. But when you understand what's required for Pi to actually function as a global payment layer for major commerce, that number starts to make more sense. It's not about what sounds reasonable based on other cryptocurrencies. It's about what's mathematically necessary for the network to handle the volume of real-world economic activity. Amazon integration wouldn't just validate Pi's utility, it would create the demand conditions that require a high value per coin for the system to actually work. This is why the seemingly slow, methodical approach of building compliance, verification, and infrastructure first was so important. You can't integrate with major corporations without solving the regulatory and fraud problems first. But now we need to address the elephant in the room. Is this actually happening? Is there real evidence? Or is this just wishful thinking? Because the answer to that question determines everything. And what I'm about to show you might surprise you. All right, let's be direct about something. I don't have a leaked email from Jeff Bezos saying we're definitely integrating Pi next month. What I have is something more important, the strategic reality that makes this make sense from a business perspective. Let's look at what we actually know. First, the regulatory environment has changed dramatically, with MiCA compliance in Europe and the regulatory frameworks becoming clearer. Major corporations can now look at cryptocurrency integration without massive legal risk. That barrier that existed 2 years ago is largely gone. Second, Amazon has been actively exploring cryptocurrency for years. They've posted job listings for crypto specialists. They've made public statements about being interested in the space. This isn't a company that's anti-crypto. They're waiting for the right opportunity. Third, the business logic is undeniable. Everything I just explained about fees and fraud isn't speculation. Those are real problems costing Amazon real money right now. Any solution that addresses both problems simultaneously would be incredibly valuable to them. Fourth, Pi has what Amazon needs that other cryptocurrencies don't: the verified user base, the regulatory compliance, the low transaction fees, the fraud prevention built into the verification system. Now, does this mean Amazon is definitely going to announce Pi integration tomorrow? No, I'm not claiming that. What I'm saying is that the conditions are in place for this to make perfect business sense. The pieces fit together in a way that's hard to ignore. When you're a major corporation looking at payment solutions, you evaluate based on solving real problems. Amazon has specific problems. Pi has specific solutions to those exact problems. The question isn't, why would this happen? The question is, why wouldn't this happen? Think about it from Amazon's perspective. They could stick with the current system, keep paying billions in fees, keep dealing with fraud, keep facing limitations in emerging markets where credit card penetration is low. Or they could integrate a payment system that solves all three problems simultaneously while gaining access to 50 million verified users who are eager to spend their Pi. From a strategic business standpoint, the second option is clearly superior. Now, the timeline is the unknown factor. These kinds of corporate integrations take time. Legal teams need to review everything. Technical integration needs to be planned and tested. Regulatory approval needs to be confirmed in different jurisdictions. But the foundation is there. The business case is there. The technology is there. The regulatory clarity is emerging. Whether this happens in 3 months or 12 months or 18 months, the trajectory seems clear when you look at the strategic alignment. And for people holding Pi, understanding the strategic reality is more important than trying to find a leaked document or an insider tip. The business logic tells you everything you need to know about where this is likely heading. Let me bring all of this together. For 6 years, people have been asking about Pi's utility. Where to spend it? What's it actually good for? Those were never the right questions. The right question was always what infrastructure needs to be built first before major integration is possible.
You can't integrate with trillion-dollar corporations without regulatory compliance. You can't solve e-commerce fraud problems without verified identity systems. You can't handle global transaction volume without scalable technology. All of that had to be built first, and it was. While everyone was impatient and complaining about the timeline, the foundation was being constructed. Now we're at a point where major integration isn't just theoretically possible, it makes strategic business sense for companies like Amazon. They have problems, Pi has solutions. The regulatory barriers are clearing, the technology is ready, the user base exists. This isn't about hoping that some company does us a favor by accepting Pi. This is about understanding that we built exactly what major corporations need to solve their biggest payment infrastructure problems. Amazon isn't the only possibility, but Amazon represents what's possible when you think big instead of thinking about coffee purchases at local shops. The utility phase isn't coming, it's here. The question is just how fast major players move to take advantage of what Pi offers. For those who held through 6 years of skepticism and criticism, this is what you were waiting for. Not just acceptance, but strategic necessity. The companies that integrate early get the competitive advantage. The ones that wait will be playing catch-up. And for Pi holders, understanding the business logic behind potential integrations is what separates informed patience from blind hope. The math works, the strategy works, the timing is aligning. If you found this analysis valuable, make sure to like this video, subscribe to stay updated as developments continue, drop a comment and let me know your thoughts on the possibility of Amazon integration and what it would mean for Pi's future. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.